Hey guys, I got this fantastic question from Pontang, and that is, what are my thoughts on Warren Buffett's shareholder letter? And that's the most recent one. So today it's the 5th of March, so it's like a week ago since it's been. Basically, that is for 2014, of course, because it's for the year that has just passed. And so here are my thoughts on that. The way that I've chosen to share my thoughts is basically me sitting here in front of the webcam and browsing through the letter that I have here in my hand that I just printed out, and just see if we can find a few good nuggets there. Before doing that, I just want to give a quick shout out to this fantastic book. So this is a compilation of all the letters that Warren Buffett has been writing over the years, and yeah, I still can't endorse that, enough. There are some fantastic points in there. Okay, so let's have a look at it. On page 6, so this is the first thing. He's talking about the Big Four, and he always have a small section about the Big Four. The Big Four, that is his. He has smaller holdings, but in major companies. So that would be in IBM, Wells Fargo, Coca-Cola, and American Express. And what he's talking about is how he has been increasing his ownership. And, for instance, for Coca-Cola, he has increased his ownership from 9.1% to 9.2%. And if you look close into the letter, you'll see that he owns 400 million shares in Coca-Cola. But he also did that last year. And the way that this is happening is that Coca-Cola is buying back their own shares, so there will be fewer shares outstanding. So basically, without investing more money in Coca-Cola, he increases his ownership. So I just thought there were some interesting points that you might want to look into. And if you're thinking 0.1% isn't a lot of money, because that is something Warren Buffett addresses himself, he's saying that actually just 0.1% for these Big Four, that is $50 million more in earnings. So yeah, just something to think about. Another thing, and this is also on page 6, he's talking about look-through earnings. And he's actually not saying look-through earnings, but that is really what it is. And this is because when he owns shares in companies, when he doesn't control the company, so this is what I'm doing, and this is probably also what you're doing, Warren Buffett does the same thing. So he has, say, 10%, or was it 9.2% in Coca-Cola. So the way that you record this, since this is a holding company, is only to record the dividend. And this is not, say, the right way of recording it. Well, legally it's the right way, but it's not the right way because he is still entitled to the piece of the earnings that are not dividend. So if Coca-Cola is making, $100 and they're paying out $50 in dividend, the remaining $50 he still has, some claim to that in proportion to how many shares he owns. And he's not entitled, or he's not required to disclose that. So he does that sometimes. But in this section, I think it's just really important that he's talking about that those earnings are, real. And this is not required by GAAP, which is the accounting principles, but it's just something that he likes to highlight. So we really should make sure to account for that. So this is on page 6 if you want to dig more into that. So another thing I always find interesting is when he's talking about insurance, and he starts with that on page 8. So as you probably know, Berkshire Hathaway, especially historical, has always been an insurance company. So recently you might be hearing that he's bought into Heinz and Burlington and other companies, but they have a huge insurance division. And he's talking about float, and he's saying right now in 2014 the float is $83 billion. So that is money that people have given to him for writing insurances, but people still have claim to that money in case something should happen. And since you have a whole portfolio of insurance claims, clearly he'll need to pay some of those money out again. So this is really interesting. These 83 billion, they're recorded as a liability because he needs to pay that out again. So you might be thinking that is a big problem. Well, it actually isn't, because just as well as he will need to give those money back to people, he will in the meantime still be writing on new insurance policies. So basically, what he's having is $83 billion that he can invest in other companies. And I mean, it's not like it's a secret because, well, it's quite publicly known, and a lot of insurance companies does that. But this is really just the foundation for how Warren Buffett really get a huge cash flow in terms of getting good returns. And since he's better at picking securities than other people, those 83 billion really matters. So that's just something. If you're really interested, I think you should dig into that on page 8. Another thing he's talking about on page 10 is that he's very conservative in underwriting insurance policies. So say that and catastrophes should happen. You might be thinking this is bad for an insurer like Berkshire Hathaway, but Warren Buffett, what he is saying is that since he's so conservative, it might actually be a great opportunity for him, because other insurance companies would have big troubles if they should get a lot of claims, and that will leave a lot of great buying opportunities for him and for Berkshire Hathaway. So I just found that very insightful, and just a very, say, classic Warren Buffett, where he is cautious, but he's always thinking in another level, and he always finds opportunities, but other people find challenges. So that was just a few of the pointers I found interesting here in the shareholder letters to shareholders. Okay, so as always, if you have any follow-up questions, perhaps to this in particular, this letter, feel free to tweet me at Stig_Brodersen, or you can send me an email at askinvestors.com.